Today, I'm going to do a little update on some of my rescue plants. These two babies that were being thrown away in a garbage can. What? So when you're rescuing plants, like I said, give yourself a break. If they don't work well, if they don't make it, or if it takes a really, really long time to see results. I definitely don't give up on a plant until it's just too bad. I definitely don't give up on a plant for a really long time. Sometimes I'll give a plant as much as a year before I decide whether or not it's worth trying and spending any more energy or fertilizer on. Okay, so rescued plants. Some of these I've had for quite a while. Some of them I've had for at least 6 months. When I got these plants, they were all in really bad shape. And a couple that came from a friend whom I traded some succulents with. I got a few of them from a garden center that were actually being thrown away. I've been giving my rescues Super Thrive once a month when I water them. And when I first got them, I fed them all Garrett juice. And once a month, I do that for all my plants. These were the two plants that were getting thrown away at the garden center. And they looked horrific, and I thought, okay, whatever, I'll give it a try, because I'm always trying. And I learn a lot from rescuing plants, because when I succeed, I'm like, okay, this plant likes this, and I'm gonna make this work. And for the plants that don't make it, I try not to take it too hard, because you never know exactly how much stress they've been under. I tend to take a look at the roots before I choose to rescue a plant. If the roots are in bad shape, I generally cut my losses. But these two babies that were being thrown away in a garbage can. What? Look at this. I just cannot believe how well they're doing. And again, it's Super Thrive once a month and Garrett juice once a month over the course of the summer. I just did the same. I just fed them Garrett juice a couple of days ago, so they won't get that again for a while because it's not necessary. So what I've been doing with these is I put them in these small pots that drain super well. I give them a small amount of water at a time, and they don't ever get overhydrated, and they like to get a little dry between waterings. So, wow, I'm like super proud mama over here. I want to talk about Sally. On my video about rescuing dry plants, this is Sally. Sally was the focus of that video because when I first got her, she was absolutely, utterly, and totally dry. There was no moisture at all in the root ball. So we hydrated her with a spray bottle, and then I slowly gave her water over the course of several days. With Sally, I could tell that she had some decent roots in the root ball, even though she was totally dried out. Sally had some new growth when I first got her, but that new growth is dried out and gone. And part of the reason for that is she was trying to survive, and so she probably just used the moisture in those up. She is doing so much better. I'm not upset that she lost some of the new growth that she had, because these are healthy and we have lots of new growth here. And when you're rescuing plants, don't expect them to be perfect immediately. It takes them a while to get back to a healthy, normal state. So my friend that I traded the succulents with gave me several orchids that had been in the backyard, and they had been kind of forgotten about, but they were shriveling up and dying. And so I have been working on them, because orchids are not really something I have a lot of experience with. I talked to some friends of mine that I used to work with in the garden center where I worked, and they gave me some good advice. I took it, and it looks like it's working. So what I chose to do is do a mixture of leca and a very small amount of sphagnum moss. And what I do is I pour water through the leca, and I allow it to drain out. And then I spray every single day to keep the humidity levels right so that the leaves can absorb it. And I've been trying to keep the leaves clean. So here we go. This is one of them, and she has beautiful roots. And even though her leaves are still kind of rough, she actually has new growth. And she's not looking too bad at this point. This one was in rough condition, much, much worse condition. And I just didn't know if she was gonna make it. And at first I didn't have her wet enough, and then I had her too wet. So this one's been, a lot of this is my bad, but she's doing a lot better. I am going to be doing the beet method, where you grind up a beet in your blender and then you use that to water them. Here's another rescue. She had just a few leaves and they were really, really dried out and in rough shape, but I've only had her for maybe 2 or 3 months and she is just shooting up. I mean, she is super happy. In my video, my plant addiction may be out of control, I had some devil's spine and I tried and I tried and I tried and it just didn't work out. I had never had them before. I didn't get the humidity right. The soil was either too dry or too wet, and I kept experimenting. I did talk to somebody at a garden center about them, and I did try what they told me, but I think that they had already been through too much when I rescued them, and then because it was not a plant I was familiar with, I didn't do a good job with it. So I ended up having to chuck those, and I feel bad about it, but I don't always win, especially when it's a plant that I really don't know much about. Like with orchids, orchids are not something I've ever really taken care of or had before I started getting the rescues. But I talk to people, I get advice, and I try everything. I go online, I go on the internet and I read, and I watch YouTube videos, and I try to gather as much information as I possibly can. But even when I'm trying to do everything exactly like everybody tells me, it just doesn't always work out. So sometimes I get really sad when it doesn't, and other times I'm like, I tried. So those are my updates. I really want you guys to feel encouraged to try to salvage and rescue plants. You know, go to the clearance center at the big name brand garden centers and hardware stores and be brave. Give it a try. And not all plants are salvageable, but when they are salvageable and you do succeed, you're gonna feel like a superstar. And when they don't succeed, don't take it personally. See you later, guys. Have fun gardening.